This is Pod Populi.
Podcast for the people.
The Great Love Debate. It's the Great Love Debate.
The Great Love Debate. It's the Great Love Debate.
Hi again, everyone. It's Brian Howie. Welcome to The Great Love Debate, the world's #1 dating and relationship podcast. Since 2015, I am back here in the very fine studios of Pod Populi, podcast for the people. I'm at the one in Scottsdale this week. I don't think I've been here in a couple weeks. It's not so hot. I mean, it's hot, but it's not like boiling hot. So good. Back in Scottsdale. I have a guest today. I was going to talk about something and then bring her in. I'm going to bring her right in because I made a comment and I want to know if she was offended by that. She walked in and she said, "Sorry, I'm late." And she was maybe 6 minutes late. And I said, by a hot chick standard, you were actually early. And she's like, is there a standard? So I'm going to bring her in and we're going to talk about this a little bit before we get into. She's the host of the Andrea Barkley Show. Coincidentally, Andrea Barkley.
Hello, Brian.
So had you never heard that before?
No, I did not know there is a ratio of hotness to lateness. So it is.
Did you know about
thanks
hotness?
For the compliment.
Hotness. Well, you didn't even know about hotness and crazy. There's a theory on that.
I did not know about hotness and crazy, but I do. There is plenty of crazy. So the coincidence of there being hot and crazy is high.
Now, late, and I probably shouldn't make this judgment, but I lived in Los Angeles a long, long time. So I dealt with a lot of hot and a lot of late.
I understand.
They're like, sorry, traffic. I'm
Don't
like,
you
there's
think
always
that's a
traffic.
coincidence, though? That's L.A. Tons of hot girls.
Correct.
And tons of creative types
well, there's
who
a lot
can't
of
get anywhere on
there's
time.
a lot of hot people here.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily late, but there's not as much traffic.
Right.
I believe that the answer that the hot chicks have given me is like, why do you think I'm hot? I was getting ready. Fuck off.
Oh my gosh.
Don't complain.
I'm not. So I'm normally on time. Mm-hmm. I used to be a late person, but now, it's funny. I have two little girls. And since I had children, believe it or not, it actually caused me to be more on time because there's a choreography that needs to happen. And so I'm actually normally on time. So 6 minutes late.
I grew up in an early house. Like my mother was like, if you're like, it really, I hate late. Yeah. A lot of times it's disrespectful.
It is totally disrespectful.
But I do judge. Like if somebody's attractive and they're early, I make a comment.
Do you propose?
No, I'm just like, I wouldn't. And it ends up going bad for me because I'm like, oh, I wouldn't expect you to be on time. Like,
because you're so attractive.
It's sort of like, I wouldn't expect you to be smart if you're attractive.
There's some major generalizations going on.
There are. It's not Brian Howie thinks it's the world.
I think it's an LA thing, though. I definitely think it's an LA thing. Because I will tell you this, too, if we want to talk about hot ratios and timeliness ratios. I have had a lot of cute babysitters, very cute ASU girls. And you know what? They're all on time or 5 minutes early. I've never had a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and assign this to LA. Okay, but you've also never had a problem then because you're married. That most people be like, what are you doing bringing hot ASU girls into the house? That's a very fair question.
Okay. Are you doing it intentionally? You're bringing the wolf into the hen's house, or you're just like, why hire a hot babysitter?
Well, it's not that they're hot; they just happen to be.
They're ASU, and that's just the pool of not hot.
It's not that they're necessarily hot. These girls aren't coming to the house looking like they're ready to go out on a Saturday night. They're just dressed comfortably and casually, and they're not gross. They're not gross. They could probably get dolled up and look incredible, but they come ready to babysit. But they have to.
I think the hot one is probably going to have a lot of dates, which means she's going to be on her phone and she's going to be talking to dudes and not paying attention to the kids. That's the judgment that I would.
Okay. You want to hear my perspective?
Yeah.
If you, oh man, Brian, we're really getting into this.
Yeah.
I'm strained to say this, but I'm just going to say it. If you are overweight, my feeling is that you might not be as playful. You might not have as much stamina.
Well, wouldn't you be jolly?
Maybe you're jolly, and that's awesome. Maybe you're jolly. But my thought is I would want you to be inclined, and not just inclined, but interested in taking the dog for a walk with the girls, and we're going to kick the ball, and maybe we're going to go swimming, as opposed to oh boy, I feel really stereotypical. Please don't judge me.
Yeah, well,
raiding the fridge and watching TV. I don't want you to sit around and raid the fridge and watch TV.
That's kind of what I'm getting into. And your whole brand is health and fitness and nutrition.
Yeah.
We'll plug your brand shortly.
Okay.
So there's a trend now among CEOs, powerful men, Bezos, Ari Emanuel, that they're
so fit.
Right. It used to be so like, good. I have the biggest yacht, and now they're like,
Who has the biggest muscles?
Right. That didn't used to be. It used to be like Bill Gates, wiry, nerdy, I don't have time to work out. Now it's, and the theory is, I heard one of them get interviewed the other day, some big shot, and he's like, I don't want to do business with people that aren't in shape because it tells me if they don't care about that, they don't care about anything else, which I thought was a big leap. I don't know if that's necessarily true.
I'm into it.
Same thing with dating, I think. And if you're not putting forward your best self, or at least the best version of yourself that you can be, that doesn't tell me a lot about you prioritizing that. And that also tells me, like, somewhere down the road, you might just stop caring about a lot of things. Yeah,
it's a lifestyle choice for sure. And what I think that Bezos and those other guys have tapped into is that we've learned over time that there's almost a meditative quality about that level of exercise that gets you in a zone. When you work out like that to gain that kind of muscle, it does show a dedication towards excellence, and it's attractive, let's be honest. And it gives you so much energy and mental acuity for the day. You just perform better. And so I think when it comes to love and dating, and even in marriage, if you are someone for whom that is a priority, and you start dating someone and that's not a priority for them, it's simply probably not going to be a good match, because one person is demonstrating to the world, I care about excellence, I care about health, I care about having energy, and also these are choices in the activities that I'm going to take. Like, I want to go for a hike, let's go for a bike ride, let's go for a run, let's go rollerblading, let's go surfing. And then the other person is saying, let's go check out a buffet and then take a nap.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you.
Yeah.
In Vegas now, they have what's called the buffet of buffets.
Oh,
you buy a
God.
24-hour pass and you can hit like 9 buffets. Like, what are you doing?
Ew. Ew. Okay, so when I was in college, that sounded really fun just because I was broke as a joke.
Yeah, and
so
you want all the food.
You want all the food.
But it's not cheap. It's like $100.
It is still really expensive.
Yeah.
But now I hear that and I think, gross.
Yeah,
Gross.
I know. Jerry Seinfeld, who is really known as like somebody who will workshop a joke like 100 times. He wants to get it absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
I saw an interview.
Also, Jerry Seinfeld hits the gym. Jerry Seinfeld's looking attractive.
That's what I was bringing up. Somebody
Super
asked him,
attractive.
what are the things that sort of made you successful? And he said, meditation.
Yeah, TM.
And weight training.
That's right.
And I was like, what? Like, I didn't. He's like 70 now.
He looks so good. He
does.
just did an ad for? There's a brand I'm kind of out of the loop on, but they chose him as a model. Did you see it?
It's like a clothing brand.
Yeah,
he looked good.
He looked so good.
But he met his wife at the gym. She was married to somebody else for like a week.
Well, and he was with someone else.
But he met. He was with somebody else. They both were. But he's like weight training because the trickle down of that daily discipline, the meditation, the weight training, the gym, led to him have discipline in comedy and performing, and all of those things take discipline too. It's not just you just go crack jokes.
Yeah, and it's not just discipline that it creates. Well, maybe through discipline you create confidence. So when you say to yourself, I have created this habit for myself, the discipline to go do this, it does create a confidence within yourself. And then such an awesome byproduct is you happen to look better. And that instills a lot of confidence. So I can imagine that when you go step on stage and, Jerry Seinfeld has gorgeous posture. So he has this beautiful posture. His shoulders are back. He's confident. He's calm, cool, collected. He knows he looks good. Everybody presents themselves better when they know that they look good.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Unless, Brian, you're crazy and you don't have any self-confidence just because you happen to be crazy.
That's true. When we talk about healthy habits, healthy habits can mean also healthy dating habits. And everything that you do to sort of surround yourself with healthy
What's
habits
a healthy
and
dating
choices.
habit?
Healthy dating habits is a lot of minds. First of all, healthy dating habits is show up on time, keep your commitment, go into it with a positive attitude.
Phones off the table?
Phones off the table. Don't try and say I only want this, and this. Don't make this imaginary checklist that nobody can get into. There's a lot of keep your word. Say please, thank you, love to do it again. Communication.
Be polite.
All of these things are life skills that you can
that's just
use.
being a good person, isn't it?
You would be surprised. There's not that many
wouldn't
good
be
people.
surprised. I know. I've dated before. I know how it is.
When did you... Have you always been a healthy person? Have you always been a fit person?
I grew up in a very healthy home. My mom was really into fitness. My dad got up and went to Gold's Gym all the time. But they never, back then, you didn't teach kids how to work out and exercise. So I was really interested, and I always wanted to go with my mom to the gym. But, you couldn't go until you were 14 and blah, blah, blah. I was always very conscientious of my weight, even though I didn't necessarily need to be. I am the kind of person where if I'm not careful, I could easily be fat. And my mom also really instilled in us the importance of monitoring what you eat. At the end of every day, she would count her calories. I don't think that was probably the best influence, but here we are. And then when I got into college, actually what really happened was I started dating someone. I tell this story often about how I got into fitness. I started dating someone. I was in my early 20s. We fell in love, and we got really lazy with one another, and I gained what I call 20 pounds of love fat. Mm-hmm. And that's really just
a real thing.
It's a real thing. It's just cozy and in love and in bed with some pizza, and then what? What's for dessert?
Of course you want dessert. Right. If you're in love, you're ordering dessert.
If you're in love, you're having pizza and then the dessert. It's so gross. And then you're fat and you sleep in on Sunday and you're like, oh, let's go out to breakfast and you do something gross and you take a nap.
Brunch is for people in love. Yeah.
Brunch is for, I love brunch. Anyway, so I just was mortified with myself. At being 20 pounds heavier, I just was mortified. And so I hired a trainer, changed my life. I was in business and advertising, and I was miserable, and I thought I'm going to make what I love my plan B, and hopefully the rest will fall into place. And it did. So I've been very lucky to have a career self-employed since 2008 doing what I love.
Did you guys have a conversation when you were both like 20 pounds overweight? You're like, hey, what one of us have to make?
I think I was like embarrassed. I always was. I mean, it's not like he didn't know. I don't know that he gained 20 pounds of love fat, but he was a little soft and lazy, and it's just not attractive. But I didn't really think anything about him at the time, because I was in love with him. But for myself, I was just so embarrassed that I just kind of quietly made the change. Again, at the time, I was broke as a joke. I went to the gym and I was like, how much will it cost for me to have a personal trainer? And I canceled my cable. I canceled anything I could cancel to pay for that bill. And my body changed within a month. It didn't belong on my body, and it fell right off. And so working out and weight training, and that's how I really learned how to weight lift. What it teaches you when you were talking about discipline is that you are capable of doing things that you don't think that you're capable of. And when you say, oh, I could never be on that heavy leg press machine. I could never do, 3 45-pound plates on either side as a 23-year-old girl. And the day that you can do it, you're like, holy shit, what else can I do? Yeah.
It's the mom lifting the car off the kid.
It's called extreme strength.
Yeah. What's the one? So a lot of strange things, I'll say strange things, came out of the last 2 years. A lot of people got out of the routine. A lot of people stopped going to the gym. A lot of people stayed at home. A lot of people got in really introverted, all those kind of things. What is one step that everybody can take? Just go outside and walk around?
That's a great first step. And in fact, walking is so therapeutic in general for so many things. I think all of your best ideas come from when that side of your brain is activated. You can start to get creative and have all these ideas that you want to implement. So always start by, walking is awesome. Just start. Just do anything. I say the best exercise to do is the one that you will do. And it might sound tough to get started, or you're having a hard time getting motivated, but just do anything. And just start with 5 minutes. Start with 10 minutes.
Just do something that's going to change your routine.
Anything that's going to change your routine. That comfort zone is just a terrible place to be.
Yeah, going outside. It shakes up your snow globe a little bit. Like it changes your viewpoint of the world, and you'll be stimulated in ways you don't even think of just by a car going by or a leaf blowing or
That's
people.
So true.
Or you don't have to. People are like, oh, I love to people watch. You can always people watch.
I just gave a handful of my clients today the homework to work out outside today. Like if you're not working out with me, your homework is to go outside and work out. And it's funny that you bring up how COVID changed things, but I was always the person who needed to go to a gym to work out. I needed that motivation of seeing other people. And I owned a gym in Central Phoenix, a cardio studio. And we closed, of course. And I wound up taking all of that equipment home. And the gyms were closed. What is a girl to do who loves to work out, who likes to go to the gym, and everything's closed? So I had to force myself to get into the habit of going into my garage or going outside and working out. And it's hard to do. It was hard to do. And now I wouldn't have it any other way. Now I'm totally addicted. I don't even have a gym membership anymore. Mm-hmm. And working out outside it's fuel for your soul.
You know, Peloton got people out of the spin classes.
Yep.
The downside of that, the upside is people are probably going to get on the bike more because it's at home and it's more convenient.
Yeah.
The downside is it's yet another thing people are doing at home.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to pick your spot on that. Like if you're only going to, I mean, if you can work out in your garage, in your basement and be totally fit and engage, that's fine too.
Yes.
Going to the gym is a lot of wasted time and it's awful costs, and I get that too.
Yeah.
You have to sort of create your own little decathlon in the neighborhood.
You've got to figure out what works for you.
You do.
If the Peloton at home, I feel like if you're out with clients or you're working outside of the home or whatever, and so you have that social engagement or interaction, then doing the Peloton at home or anything away from socializing is totally fine. If you thrive best in that environment of a packed spin class, a packed gym, a CrossFit class, whatever, go do that. Go do whatever you'll do. Do anything. And better yet, do a few things that are maybe a little bit different.
The thing that the most people, I think walking is probably the thing that people will do the most.
Yeah, I love
most
walking.
people are capable of walking. I walk too.
What do you do? Tell me your workout routine, Brian. What makes Brian Howie
I walk
dateable?
a lot. I have not owned a car, and I lived in Los Angeles most of the last 15 years. I haven't owned a car in like 5 years or like 4 years.
Even now?
Even now.
You don't have a car?
No, I travel all the time.
How'd you get here?
I walked from my hotel.
Oh, you're in a hotel?
Yeah, right here I am. I walked. If I need a car, I rent it or I Uber it.
Yeah.
But I got into this routine. I hated waiting in Los Angeles. I hated sitting in traffic and I hated doing that. So I'm like, I want to get into a routine where I'm only going to drive if I absolutely have to.
Love
It wasn't
this.
like a green thing.
Love this. And what about a bike?
So I'm from, bike too.
Yeah,
so my
love
bike got
riding my
stolen.
bike
I did
places.
too. So I'm from New York. You know, I lived in New York City a long, long time.
You're from New York? I didn't know that. Yeah. New York is my favorite city in the whole wide world.
Yeah.
Whole wide world.
I'm lived down on New York. But anyway,
yeah.
So you live a decade in New York City. Somebody gets a car and like, oh my God, let's go to IKEA. And it was like a big thing that somebody had hold of a car and you had to go to New Jersey and go to IKEA.
It sounds fun.
But you got into a life of no car.
Right.
And so when I moved to Los Angeles, I obviously had to get a car. But there was a point in where I lived in like Santa Monica. I'm like, everything I really need or want is within 2 miles here. Mm-hmm. So it gets to the point where like the lease is up and I'm like, do I need a car?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, let me see how long I can do that, how long I can sustain it. I've sustained it a long time because I travel a lot. And so I'm like, where I stay or where I am, how long can I get away without a car?
Good for
I'm not
you.
even afraid of public transportation.
No, I'm not either.
Because I'm a New Yorker. But if anything, I mean, it's a million degrees here half the time. It's a little bit tough to walk.
Well, we don't have good public transportation.
They don't either. But
even
like,
count.
if I have to go to, we're a mile from the mall?
Yeah.
Fashion Square? I'll walk.
Good for you.
I
would
wouldn't even
too.
think about it. So walking does a lot for me meditatively.
Yes.
It does a lot for me fitness-wise. But the thing that I don't do, the weight training.
Yeah, it's time.
Because I always make jokes like, what am I going to do? What am I getting in fights? What, I need to be better looking? I mean, yeah.
I mean, how can you improve upon perfection?
I know. I'm like, what?
Brian,
Now I need to be
how?
good looking?
Well, there's a lot of reasons to weight train.
There are, and it's good cardiovascularly. I get all that.
Yeah,
so,
good for your bones.
Yeah. So
good for your balance.
I also...
good for your stamina.
So Jake, who's sitting here and was running the controls, he's like, do you cook? And I'm like, there are people who go to school to learn how to do that. Why would I do that?
Oh, you don't cook? Well, you live in a hotel, so how could you cook?
Well, even if I did, I've never in my life, in my house, or like, what am I... There's people who know how to cook.
But they don't... Okay.
And they know how to wash dishes. Like,
where are you going with this?
Well, I was just saying that people think that leads to unhealthy habits.
It does.
No, I think having a bag of chips in your house and eating the whole thing while you watch TV leads to unhealthy habits.
That too.
I think having a fridge full of food is unhealthy habits.
Okay, here we go.
I got to take a quick break. We're going to get into the healthy habits right now.
Okay.
We're here with Andrea Barkley. We're talking about, I don't know where we're going with this. She literally stretched. So I got to take a quick break because I got to pay for all the food. And we'll be back right after this. And we are back. She stretched it out. She said, oh boy, what do we got? I think people who have a fridge full of food and have to put a little piggy magnet on there, I think they're much worse than me going to a restaurant 3 times a day.
Yeah, but what are you putting in the fridge?
Well, people put
what's in the fridge? I'll tell you what's in my fridge.
The fridge reminds people of home, and it is comfort food. It is ice cream. It is cheese.
No. Here's what I tell my clients, and I'll tell anyone in the world. If you're not going to feel good about eating it, don't buy it. Don't buy it.
Define feel good about it.
Like chips and ice cream.
I'll feel great eating that.
I mean, it'll soothe you like a little whoopee, but it's not going to make you feel... So if I went to your house right now and feel full of vim and vigor.
If I went to your house right now and you're like, are you hungry? Help yourself. And I open the fridge.
Yeah.
Am I going to be like, what the hell is she eating?
You'll be like, okay, I'll have a salad.
No, I don't. See, I don't want to open a fridge and
There's a bunch of produce. There's a bunch of produce. There's yogurt. There's cheese. I love cheese. There's a bunch of fruit. There's a bunch of vegetables. There's a bunch of prepared proteins. I have grass-fed steak. I have turkey all cooked. Okay. I have chicken skewers all ready to go.
Oh, there you go. See, that looks like food.
Yeah, it's food. Okay. It's food. But what you will not find in my house are chips, garbage ice cream, garbage snacks. You won't find that. I have like a few gluten-free crackers I pack for my 4-year-old's lunch, that kind of thing.
So I asked you this a couple weeks ago, and I was shocked at the answer, and I've actually told the story a few times.
Really?
I said, what if somebody is going out to eat and they're ordering something, what is the one thing that they should take away, take off the plate? And you remember what your answer was?
Breakfast potatoes.
No, that was for breakfast. But it was in terms of the thing. You're right.
Salad dressing?
No. You said, no, it's not what you're taking away. It's what you're adding.
Oh, yes. Yes. So a lot of times I say it's not what you are eating, it's what you're not eating. So a lot of people have what I call a big plate of brown. If your food is all brown, it's time to stop and reevaluate.
And add a green.
Add a green, dude. You need a green, you need a purple, you need a red, and preferably all the colors. Wouldn't that be pretty?
What's a purple?
Like a purple beet? Cabbage, a beet, eggplant, grapes. Purple.
I like just about any food.
Have you ever had a purple potato? A purple Peruvian potato? They're delicious.
I like just about any food. The like if I had to name 6 foods I don't like, they're all sort of the Mediterranean foods.
Like baba ganoush is gross.
Baba ganoush, all that. And I'm like, they're healthy though.
Yeah.
They're all good.
Kind of. So
I've come around on the hummus.
Do you like hummus?
I do now, but I don't want to eat olives.
I love olives.
I know.
The one thing I'll say about eating out that I think is really important when you said, look, people are actually paid to learn how to cook. When you eat out at a restaurant over and over, that food is all cooked in really cheap hydrogenated oils. That is super dangerous for your heart health. Super dangerous.
At a regular restaurant?
At a regular restaurant because those oils are really cheap. The best oil for your food to be cooked in is, well, first of all, oil or olive oil has a very low smoke point. It should really only be roasted with or like drizzled on as a salad dressing. But the canola oil that is used or vegetable oil or hydrogenated soybean oil, those are called polyunsaturated fats and they oxidize when they're cooked. So basically what that means is they're rancid by the time that you eat them. But if you ask for your food to be prepared in coconut oil, butter, I guess olive oil, because that's probably going to be the only option that they have. That's the one caveat about eating out is the oils they use are really bad.
So if you were on a date and you would say, hey, can you prepare this like this? If you said that, would you say that to the waitress?
I would not, because I am also not the person who has all that garbage at home. What I eat at home is so beautiful, and I eat at home 90% of the time. I might ask for my chicken grilled or my vegetables steamed, also too because I happen to like my vegetables soft and not greasy or crunchy. But yeah, I might.
How many alterations are you making to the?
Let's be real. I'm making quite a few.
See, I would be like,
too much.
I know too much.
That's hard. And then I'm also like,
that's hard
what's
to date.
The protein going to be?
It's hard to date somebody like that.
Maybe for you. I've had no problems.
I would be like, oh my God.
One of us here is married and the other one isn't.
Right. I would be like, oh my God, what a pain in the ass. But the other thing on dating, we're talking about that she definitely wants dessert, but she most likely just wants a bite or two. And then I'm eating the dessert.
Okay.
Like 80% of it.
Yeah.
You can't leave her. She definitely wants dessert. There's no question.
Wait, okay, so what are you telling me? You're out on a date.
Would you like to see a dessert menu? Yes.
Yeah, and so what does she say?
She always will want, yes, if she wants.
But does she say yes, or she says, no, I'm good?
No. I wouldn't date somebody like that either.
Oh, okay.
You don't want to date somebody who doesn't want dessert on a date.
You don't?
No. No, you don't. Would you like to see a dessert menu? Yes. That's 90% of the way to liking each other.
Okay.
That question and yes.
Interesting.
So she says yes, but she might not want to wolf down like a whole cheesecake.
Why not? If she's saying, I want to see the dessert menu.
She probably wants a couple bites.
Okay.
Girls are satisfied a lot easier on that.
Yeah. Let me tell you what we really want.
What do you want?
I want, if I was on a date with you, for instance, and you said, do you want to see the dessert menu? I always want to see the dessert menu, even if I'm not going to order. I like to look. I'm curious. I'm dessert curious.
Okay. Are you the same way at the mall, or you want to consume at the mall? You want to just look at the stuff, or you want to buy it? Like, where does that line of discipline stop?
Well, those are very different things.
No, they're the same.
I'm not a big shopper.
Okay, good.
But if I do go shopping, then I
put that on a dating profile. I'm not a big shopper. Yeah. We'll go a long way to the guys.
I shop like a man. I hunt and I kill. I need a dress for this experience. I'm going to go and get it, and I'm out.
If you say, and that's a good exercise, if you say, would you like to see a dessert menu? Sure, I'll take a look. And then you take a look and you don't find anything, he feels like he failed with the restaurant.
No, then he's got to get out of his own head.
No, he'd be like, oh my God, she's unsatisfied because she wanted dessert. That's the signal.
No, we're all
sends.
overthinking this.
No.
Okay,
yeah,
do you want me as a woman? Do you want me as a woman to tell you what would be a really great correction to that?
Sure.
Okay, there's two things.
Okay.
So I have two scenarios for you. If I say to you, if we look at a dessert menu, I think it would be really fun if you said, if you could choose anything off the menu, what would it be? And I would say, I'm probably not going to get anything, but what really looks good to me is the lemon, blah, 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 and the dark chocolate, blah, blah, blah. What would be really, but I shouldn't, I've already had too much to eat. And then what would be really attractive?
So hot. What are you talking about?
No.
That's what he's going to say.
No, but who cares? What would be really attractive is if the man says, excuse me, server, we'll take both. Just have a couple bites. Just see what it tastes like. It's
a good move. My point is,
it's a very attractive move. Now,
I will eat both because I have a mental problem and I'll eat all the food. Yeah,
that's up to you.
That's my problem. I will eat it all.
I can't help you with that. Then you should go lift some weights.
Then you earn your dessert.
And then here's what I have to say to that too. Yeah. If you're going to get the dessert, then you should have a lower carb meal. Then get the steak and broccoli.
Right. Don't start with the bread basket.
Don't have bread and pizza or pasta. Mm-hmm. What's your protein? What's your vegetable? You always start there, especially if you like dessert.
But a lot of people, the reason why edamame goes a long way on a date is because it's not so fattening, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's something to pick at. People are nervous. The bread is a little bit of a nerve. It's a fidget for a lot of people on a date.
The bread's never a good idea.
It's never. So if you're just like, take the bread away and she looks at you like, I need bread, fatty, like just because you can't have any. You're judging in a moment.
Boy, you really overthink this.
The world overthinks this.
Oh my gosh, I don't think like this.
Because you haven't been out there dating in a while.
That's not true. I try and date my husband.
I get that, but at the end of the day, you're probably going home with them.
We're totally going home with each other.
So
we're totally going home.
The stakes, you're working with a net there.
That's so funny.
So it's like, but people are like, everything is being read on a first date. They're reading body language. They're reading what you eat. So part of me is like, oh my God, look, she just ordered the ribs and had no shame, just wolfing down ribs.
Isn't that attractive?
To me, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great.
I think it's great too.
Some women will be like, pleasure in your food. That's a very attractive
Someone
thing.
will be like, I will look attractive eating spaghetti. I just won't order it. I would want to be the one like, screw him. I'm hot eating spaghetti.
Totally.
I want to eat what I want to eat.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the game people play with themselves.
I will offer this. If someone has that level of discomfort with their self that they can't confidently eat spaghetti and own their business, they're not the one. Keep walking.
You have to be a good twirler with the spoon.
Okay.
I'm not. So I would steer away from the spaghetti. It would be a
that's
shit
up
show.
to you.
But the one who can eat I dated this girl. She ate a rack of ribs and then she just dabbed her little lips. No mess.
Cute.
It was stunning.
You were impressed. I can see that you're still very impressed.
Oh, to this day, I was like, she ate it like it was.
So what happened?
It was, a bunch of other problems later, but that was like, that told me she'd eaten a lot of ribs.
Okay.
Which I like because she had perfected this technique.
Yeah.
She didn't give a shit about ordering him in front of me, yet she was like classy in a way. She didn't just put her head in the feed bucket. Like she made it
good.
It was all good.
She had manners.
She had manners. She had grace. She had an appetite. Those are all good things.
Those are all good things. Those are great things. Okay, so here's the other thing that you could do if the girl doesn't find anything that she wants off the dessert menu and you feel somehow weirdly like a failure because you haven't produced a proper...
Do you have any fruit? Is that what you're getting at?
No, you should say, let's go somewhere else for dessert. That sounds good to you.
Yeah, go get a dessert.
Let's go get something.
Let's go get an ice cream.
What sounds good to you? Let's go get it.
I was on the
would be very
on the
hot.
plane the other day, first class.
Of course.
No, not of course, but I was. They finally brought back food on first class after like 2 years of people not eating.
Right.
And the dessert choice was the fruit and cheese plate or sorbet, which was the healthier choice. Because the flight attendant said, I chose the fruit and cheese. That's just because what I wanted.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, healthy. And I'm like, is that healthier than the sorbet? I don't know. Fruit is full of sugar and cheese is cheese, which is not great either.
I would agree that the fruit and cheese would be healthier than the sorbet. And the reason why is because the sorbet has a ton of added sugar. Double the sugar.
Added sugar. Natural fruit.
Well, the fruit, let's say it was just some grapes and...
It was grapes and melon.
Yeah. So what at the maximum
4 pieces of cheese.
Yeah, at the maximum you have 25 grams of sugar. The sorbet is going to easily have 45 to 50 grams of sugar.
Oh.
And then the nice thing about the cheese is that it has fat and protein, which is going to help your body slow down the absorption of the sugar. It's going to help regulate your blood sugar. Whereas the sorbet...
Is that true?
Yeah.
So I should always eat cheese with my fruit?
So you always want a balance. What's your protein? What's your fat? What's your carb?
If somebody does not eat meat, and I'm not one of those lunatics.
Neither am I.
What is the best source of protein for those people?
Animal protein.
No, but if they're not going to eat it, what is the...
Steak.
I know. I get it.
Grass-fed steak.
I know, but some people are just like, no, and they're like, I eat a lot of beans, and like, are they getting enough protein for most part or no?
So I'm not an expert in this, but I will tell you that I have read a lot of studies that show how important animal protein is to one's body.
That's the way we were made.
It is primal. There is a reason why you have eye teeth. And there's a reason why you have digestive enzymes and a low stomach pH to process all of that animal protein. If you are a vegetarian, I would argue towards healthy doses of fish, which means not too much. You want it to be sustainably caught. If you eat too much fish, then you're going to have a mercury poisoning.
Think fish is better. Because I don't understand why a lot of them are like pescatarian. Like, what's the difference?
Well, so from an animal rights perspective, I do love animals unquestionably. And if my body didn't crave meat, I probably would give up meat just because I love animals and I do feel bad.
A hook in the face and then they're getting drowned is not exactly a good journey from habitat to plate.
Yeah, don't disagree. Don't disagree.
There's no worse deal than the lobster.
I think they're arguing about like their nervous system and their ability to feel pain, whereas a cow is obviously a very intelligent creature and they're, loving and they have big brains. Fish don't.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
The fish has a weak soul.
That's exactly it. The fish has a weak soul. So that's why they eat fish more than like a bigger animal.
Fun fact here at the Great Love Debate. That actually makes sense.
It's true. And it's one of the reasons why I have tried giving up meat just for the sake of animal rights. But to be honest, my body just craves it and I thrive when I eat it. So if you are a vegetarian, if you were trying to get enough protein, beans, but make sure you soak and sprout them. Be careful. Beans have a lot of carbs. Mm-hmm. So you better be active to offset all of those carbs. There's also, tempeh, which is a fermented, fermented soy. And that's really common in Asian cultures. That's way better than a tofu, which is not fermented. I would do a plant-based protein powder for sure, one that's non-GMO, has non-creepy ingredients. Mm-hmm. I like the brand Orgain. They have really quality stuff. That's what I would do. Eggs, egg whites.
Yeah, that's true. Egg whites. You brought up, I'm like, I'll have her yellows. They don't like that.
Oh, I love yolks.
I do too.
I love yolks.
She's like, I'll have egg whites. Give me the yellows.
Yeah.
Put them on mine.
They're delicious.
You brought up a really important thing that we don't talk about enough because it matters. You brought up posture.
Yes.
Posture. What posture portrays to the world is a whole lot of stuff. Confidence, health, fitness, height, which absolutely matters.
It really does.
Is Pilates the best way to fix your posture? Is there a way that somebody who's 35 years old and kind of had slouchy shoulders for a while can without walking around with a book on their head? Is there a workout that helps with Pilates? Tends to make people elongate and stretch better.
Yeah. I don't actually have a lot of experience with Pilates, but that would be an awesome place to start. They definitely, that particular modality of exercise is awesome about elongating your spine and making you seem taller.
Dance classes help too, because dance classes, the instructor will force certain.
Are you going to take
postures.
A dance class, Brian?
No, my posture's fine.
Okay. I would argue.
Or maybe it's not. That's true. People say that to me. I was in a bad car accident a couple years ago, and I do, if you look at me from behind, which I'm sure everybody's looking at me from behind.
Yeah.
I'm a little
discombobulated.
Yeah, I'm a little off. The posture is not. And so the best thing that you can do to sort of get your core back is simply figure out a way to sit and stand up straight.
Yeah.
And that's something that we're not cognizant of enough. How do I look? And other people notice it.
Yeah.
And so if you're talking about in the dating world, how do you present yourself when you walk into a room, or you get up and use the ladies' room, or you're in a room full of people, how you just stand.
Yeah, I have a couple suggestions on this. One is when you're standing, if you're trying to correct your posture, there's something called the kinetic chain. You want your head to lie over your neck, over your shoulders, over your hips. Your knees and your toes are all in a straight line. So I'm going to stand right now just to show you. The other way you know if you're standing appropriately or not is if you stand up, your palms are down, right? That's a sign of a forward rotation in your shoulder. The minute I bring my palms up, my chest rises. And sorry, I left the microphone. What I said was if you're standing up, you want your palms to face forward. That's automatically going to correct your chest and make it proud.
So palms forward?
Palms forward.
That's a weird look, right?
Well, you don't stay there. Oh. It's just
you just quickly do that.
You just quickly reset forward? My palms are facing back. I'm going to face them forward. If your palms were in a certain direction, what would they be? You want them to face forward. That's automatically going to shift your chest back. And then Tony Robbins has a great tool. He talks about changing your state. So all emotion is a state. And if you want to feel stronger, more confident, more powerful, more in control of anything, have better posture, you take that normal posture that you think is proud and you elevate it by 2 inches. So if I'm here, I look like I have decent posture, but what if I go here? Right? That's even better. That's even more confident. And then there's something that floods through your body that makes you feel like, all right, let's do this. Let's do this. So I would argue that any weight training, any sort of exercise, hopefully, is going to correct your posture, because you're also looking at yourself in the mirror. And when you're kind of all hunched over, you look like a schlep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of people laid on the couch for too long.
Sit up.
Sit up.
God, yeah, Brian, that is one of my biggest pet peeves on earth, is lying on the couch without the intention to take a nap. If I'm trying to have a conversation with you, sit up. Do me the courtesy of sitting up, because also...
Say that as a mom?
No, I'm saying it as anybody.
Okay.
Sit up.
Yes, sit up.
Sit up. Look at me. Have good, lean into me. Are we having a conversation? Are we interested in one another? Also, too, because if people are like, oh, I'm so tired. Well, you've been laying on the couch. Of course you're tired. When you lay down, your body produces a hormone that's like, oh, I guess it's time to go to sleep. And it makes you sleepy. When you sit up, that doesn't happen.
Sit up, stand up straight,
sit
present
up,
yourself
stand up
to the world
straight,
confidently.
exercise.
All of these will trickle down to not just your dating life, but your relationship.
I had an interesting conversation with my husband. I was telling him that we were, going to be having this conversation today, and we've been talking about objectification. And he was saying, how is it not objectifying yourself to be fit and project yourself in the most attractive way possible? How is that not objectifying yourself? What do you think about that?
Good. I think that's positive objectification. I think it's good. We're all on the narcissist spectrum.
Yeah. Well, I would argue too that taking care of yourself doesn't necessarily objectify yourself. I think there's a big difference between the way that I present myself versus maybe, I don't mean to call anybody out, but I don't even know if she's still relevant. Jen Salter, the butt selfie girl from 1,000 years ago. That is classic objectification. So you can objectify yourself in a way that's completely taking your soul out of it. Or you can be mindful of putting your best self forward because you have an ounce of self-respect. And I think that when you take the time to care for yourself, to exercise, to eat right, it gets your mind right. We talked about this a little bit before the podcast started. But when I see someone who is out of shape, here's what I think. You're lazy, and you don't have any self-respect, and you have a deep emotional issue. And that doesn't mean I'm judging you. That doesn't mean I have...
It's most likely true.
It doesn't mean I don't empathize with you. I deeply empathize. But when I think about what I want for a dating partner, it's not that.
Yeah,
I don't want to go to bed with that. Do you?
No. And
do you want to have sex with that?
No. And you don't want
Gross.
somebody who, a lot of men in marriages, they play 6 hours of video game and watch 8 hours of football, and they're just not outside.
Gross.
I know. And it's just like, just go outside, like take a walk. Like, I don't care where you live, like go outside. And you know what too? Even if it's hot, even if it's cold, get up early. It's like here where it's, 110 a lot of the days until 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of time where it's lovely here.
I totally agree. You can go for a swim. You can do so much.
You can. All right. We're going to let you plug all your stuff in a minute, but this is your first time on the podcast. We play with our guests something called Worst Date or First Date, which means you have to think back to your swinging single days, and you have to either give us the worst date you've ever had or the greatest first date you've ever gone on. Your choice.
Oh, boy. Worst date or best date?
Right. Essentially, those are the choices.
Oh, man. I don't know if I can remember. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a worst date.
Okay.
I don't know
what the
if
audience
it was...
likes to hear.
Yeah. Oh.
We're like 10-1 on most people choose worst date, but every once in a while we'll get a good first one. I'm like, oh, that's sweet. What happened to that guy? Never heard from him again, but the date was good. Like, we get that. So.
Okay, I'll go best.
Okay, good.
Because I can't actually think of worst. If it's a worst date, it's usually like the fifth date. The fourth or fifth date.
Okay.
Best. I would say the most interesting thing was I met someone on a dating app or a dating site. And he said, he was asking a lot about what I do for a living and blah, 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 blah. And he said, I feel like you're the kind of person I just want to go for a walk and have a protein shake with. And it was so simple, but it was thoughtful. And we went and just had a protein shake and walked around the park, and we had the best time.
Cheap bastard.
Yeah, I could see that, but it was nice. And also, too, that's the first thing I could think of.
No, that's good. That's a sweet day to break it down to. I think you would like a protein shake.
It was thoughtful, and it was different because everyone goes to dinner.
What if he said, let's have an ice cream and walk around the park? You would have done that.
Yeah, of course.
Well, ice cream's more fun than protein shake.
No, it was fun.
Okay. And what happened to that guy?
We had breakfast.
Same date?
Yes, actually. No, we did. We wound up having breakfast, too.
Okay. Did you have the breakfast potatoes?
I very well may have.
Oh, there you go. See, that's what makes it a good date.
I very well may have.
Of the breakfast potato choices, what is the healthiest choice? The roasted, not the hash brown, right?
Yeah. You can't even get roasted potatoes.
Healthy?
No.
They aren't?
No, I'm really sorry.
They're not fried. They're loaded up with butter, though, right?
Well, so butter is not the problem. The problem with grits, if people don't know, grits come from corn. Corn is one of the most genetically modified crops on the planet. So you're pairing a carb with a ton of fat. And a lot of people have a sensitivity to corn because you eat so much damn corn. Corn's in everything. So grits are super tasty, but they're not the best. And you're probably, if you're having grits with breakfast, you're probably also having a bunch of eggs and sausage. So I can't even imagine. I cannot. Not that any of those things are bad.
Potatoes.
But you can't get roasted potatoes for breakfast.
You
Where?
Can here.
They're all fried.
They are?
All of them. There is not a potato in town for breakfast that's not fried. I'm sorry.
Daily Dose down the street?
Fried.
Morning Squeeze?
Fried.
Sorry, Scottsdale. Scottsdale brunch is all about bottomless mimosas, so they don't really care.
Not for me.
Not for you.
Okay, are you into that? Do you like to do bottomless mimosas?
No,
yeah.
I don't like day drinking.
I don't like to day drink either.
I think it's like at some point you're going to need a nap, and it's like I don't get it.
It's 100% you need a nap, and then your day is ruined.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah,
day drinking is huge now. Like Sunday fun day, it's dumb.
It's not fun for me.
You should be going to work on Monday. Sorry, folks.
It's not fun for me at all.
Have your fun on Friday night.
I agree. Yeah, I agree completely.
All right, tell everybody about the ABS world.
Okay. So you can, if you wanted to find more about me, you can follow me on Instagram at Andrea Barkley. You can go to AndreaBarkley.com. I've written a couple of books called Moan Out Loud protein shakes. They're all natural protein shake recipes that are easy to make at home and delicious. And I created them because I think, well, I always have a sweet tooth after I eat, and that helped me kind of slay a sweet tooth. They're amazing. And then I hear a lot of people tell me they have a hard time getting motivated to work out. And so I have a accountability group that I keep in touch with via text message called the Daily Motivator. If you go to AndreaBarkley.com/motivate, you can find out more about that.
That was good.
Thanks.
And the podcast?
Oh, and the podcast, of course, the Andrea Barkley Show. We talk about fitness, food, parenting, and anything that kind of relates to living your best life.
Good. This wasn't too bad, right?
No, it was fun.
It was fun.
I knew it would be fun.
I feel a little healthier. As far as us, as always, not just the Andrea Barkley Show, but this podcast too. Like, share, follow, and review. Your reviews mean a lot in the podcasting ecosystem. Go to greatlovedebate.com. Our next live show, City Winery, Boston, Massachusetts, September 21st. It might be sold out. If it's not, the tickets are on sale at citywinery.com or greatlovedebate.com. Shoot us an email, greatlovedebate@gmail.com. If you've got any places that serve roasted potatoes for breakfast or anything else.
Burning love questions.
Because, as always, at The Great Love Debate, we never stop making love. See you next time.